Breaking news, everybody. Hurricane Milton has now reached Category 5 status as it bears down on the Yucatan Peninsula and the capital of Yucatan State, Merida, here. Campeche, the capital of Campeche State, here. And, of course, the resort town of Progreso in front of Merida, here. Now, as yesterday, it was forecast to go quite far north of the Yucatan, but unfortunately, it has rapidly intensified in a matter of 6 to 8 hours from Category 1 to Category 5, and it is still on a course that brings it very close. In fact, this is the worst side of the cyclone, the right side, and it's that side which will be affecting Merida and Progreso. It seems like the Campeche weather radar has just gone out as this bit of the storm has gone through. There isn't any radar data coming from the Campeche radar now. The Cancun one is still up over here, but it's not really picking up this storm yet. But you can see from the satellite imagery, it's a very strong Category 5 with a very pinhole eye, a very unique kind of hurricane, but a very fierce hurricane. And unfortunately, the effects on the Yucatan Peninsula, let me just show you the whole Yucatan Peninsula here. The effects of the whole peninsula are going to be quite profound, especially along this whole north coast with Cancun sitting there, and Cozumel is under this heavy rain shower right here. So unfortunately, it looks like quite a bit of severe effect on Progreso, Merida, down toward Campeche. So for these three states, Campeche, Yucatan, and Quintana Roo, the northern part of Quintana Roo, very likely severe hurricane damage along the coast and severe tidal flooding. Very heavy rains throughout this whole part of southern Mexico, northern Belize, and northern Guatemala over the next day. Yeah, it's a pretty bad scenario. Now, what does this mean for Florida? You can see now it's been officially declared Category 5 and is likely to stay Category 5 as it strafes the northern Yucatan coast. It is then forecasting a northern turn, but remember, it's been forecasting a northern turn for almost 24 hours now, and that hasn't happened. So it's not really following the models. It's strengthened much more rapidly and taken a much more southerly track than was forecast yesterday. So again, there could be significant changes to this track as well, but it currently brings it to here where it meets a bit of wind shear coming from the jet here, and that would begin to weaken it to Category 4. And you can see just as it approaches Tampa and Tampa Bay and St. Petersburg in that area, it is weakened a little bit more. But the problem is, even if it weakens to Category 3 here, and my feeling is that it could stay a Category 4, but even if it does manage to weaken right when it gets into the Tampa area, it will still be pushing a Category 4 storm surge. There will not be time for that storm surge to dissipate. So basically, even this model here, although the dot over the Tampa is a Category 3, a strong Category 3, it really should be treated as a Category 4 because it will be pushing up a Category 4 storm surge, and that will be in the neighborhood of 8 to 12 meters of storm surge, which would be a record for Tampa Bay. And also for this area around Fort Myers and Charlotte, where they got hit so bad by Ian, if the thing does go a little bit farther south. But even in this scenario, they will be getting a lot of water in all of those areas and islands, Sanibel and other islands there that got so badly affected by Ian a few years ago. I think it was 2022. So yeah, very bad scenario tonight. And just to recap, the hurricane has been declared Category 5. So Hurricane Milton is now a Category 5 storm, and was likely to cause significant damage to Merida and Progreso, and perhaps over into the Cancun area as well, but across the northern part of the Yucatan. before beginning to turn north and then creating a tremendous problem in Florida, the west coast of Florida, but also the east coast when it emerges out the other side. You can expect hurricane damage all across central Florida now. That includes Orlando, Daytona Beach, and the east side as well. And so you can see that cone stretches all the way down from Jacksonville all the way down to maybe around Port Lucie, but to the north of Okeechobee there. So yeah, not a good scenario for Mexico, for the Yucatan, and not a good scenario for Florida. Unfortunately, I hope they've had enough time to do all the proper evacuations in Mexico. I know a lot of shelters have been open as the storm, became clear today that the storm was actually going to have a much larger impact on the capital in Mérida. And so I know they've been racing around trying to get shelters open and people to safety. Good best wishes to everybody in the Yucatan Peninsula and those three states, Campeche, Yucatan, and Quintana Roo. Godspeed, and God bless to all of you, and I hope everyone can get to their safe place as soon as possible. Florida, of course, has a lot more warning. Evacuations have already started. There's a lot of mandatory evacuations that have gone into effect this morning, and all of that will be going on over the next few days. It's due in on Wednesday. From Wednesday afternoon, conditions will start going down, and then the storm itself will probably come in around Wednesday night to very early on Thursday. So there you have it. Again, breaking news. Hurricane Milton is a Category 5 hurricane, one of the biggest of the season, and perhaps to have some of the most significant effects both on the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico and in a few days' time on much of Florida, including the Tampa, St. Petersburg metropolitan area. Okay, stay safe, everybody. God bless. Bye-bye.